What is up, my friends? Today's topic was actually suggested on Instagram, so if you're not following me on there, make sure that you do that. It is thick, solid, tight. Make sure you follow me. I really appreciate that. I'm gonna try to keep this video relatively short, but you know how I do. I'm pretty bad at keeping things short, so we're gonna try to keep it as short as possible. But today's topic is, how do you switch from a cut to a bulk? Now, the question sounds pretty easy, but when you actually try it, if you haven't before, then you'll realize that it's a lot more difficult. There's a lot more depth to that question than you might originally think. Now, switching from a bulk to a cut is also very difficult, but I'm not gonna cover that in this video. If you want, I can make that a separate video, but there are some different nuances that it would just take too long to muddle this whole video with both of them. So we are just gonna concentrate on cutting to bulking. And the two things that we're gonna concentrate are the mental and the physical aspects of switching from a cut to a bulk. Now let's cover the physical aspect before we actually get into the mental aspect so we can understand the mental aspect a bit more. The physical aspect is as simple as this. A lot of people will go from a cut to a bulk and switch their mindset completely and think, oh, I was cutting and now I can bulk, so they just go straight into whatever they think bulking is. And that usually, entails burgers and burritos and, 1,500 extra calories, maybe a couple beers on the weekend and some sodas over here. My friend wants some ice cream and we got some froyo and I put sprinkles on it, Chelsea, and I have caramel and candy and all this stuff, right? So people, when they go into bulk mode, they generally start thinking, not all, but they generally start thinking, I can eat a lot more, I can eat kind of some dirty stuff, I'm bulking now, so it's all gonna turn into muscle. It's just like all surplus is good surplus, and that's not the way it is. Even for people with really high metabolisms, you see me eat 4,000 or 5,000 calories, and a lot of people are like, what the hell, I wish I had your metabolism. But if I went from cutting at 2,200 calories, and then all of a sudden I decided to eat my regular bulking right now, 4,000 calories, if I just did that one day apart, I would gain so much weight. And that's the physical aspect of this. If you jump into a bulk too quickly, if you increase your calories too quickly, your body's not gonna adjust its metabolism and start partitioning nutrients and whatnot in the same way that it will if you slowly go up to the calories. Instead, it's going to just add a bunch of fat. So to put it very simply, you need to follow something called a reverse diet when you switch from a cut to a bulk. Now, you might have heard reverse dieting before when it comes to prolonging your current cut, your current deficit, and making it so that you can continue losing fat. But we can apply the same theory into a switch from a cut to a bulk. Simply, all you're doing is slowly reversing your dieting. So if you're at a deficit right now, say you're supposed to get 2,500 calories, that's your maintenance. Nothing will change on your body. You get exactly 2,500, no weight change, right? So you're eating 2,200 calories to start losing weight. You've been doing this for, I don't know, 4 months, right? At this point, you've lost some weight, now you want to switch into a bulk. At this point, some people might go from that 2,200 calories right into whatever they think their bulk calorie is going to be. 3,000 calories maybe, because their maintenance is 2,500. So in a one-day period, adding in 800 calories. Your body's not adjusted. It's not ready to use those extra surplus calories. It's so used to just being in a deficit and fighting for calories, trying to keep whatever it has, and it's gonna use all those extra calories and put it into fat. So this is where reverse dieting comes in, and it's so simple. All you wanna do is just slowly increase your calories until your body is adjusted to whatever calorie amount you're trying to get to, whether you're trying to bulk or you're just trying to get back to maintenance, whatever it is. And it's not super specific. It's not like, oh, you should add 75 calories every 17 hours or something like that. Every day, every other day, add in 100 calories. So if you go every other day, add in 100 calories, and then just do that over the course of a few weeks, and you'll slowly ramp yourself up from 2,200, and then on Wednesday 2,300, and then on Friday 2,400. And maybe if you start feeling like that's too much calories too quick, maybe slow it down. Maybe just increase it by 50 calories a day. You see what I'm saying? It's very dependent for each person. For someone who's gonna go higher in their bulk, it's gonna need to be a higher amount per day. But someone who's not trying to increase, 2,500 calories, if you're just trying to increase maybe 600-700 calories, then you could do it by going by 50 or 75 calories every other day. So that's the physical aspect of switching from a cut to a bulk. To put it simply, don't increase your calories too quickly. Instead, make it a slow progression of 50 to 100 calories every other day until you've slowly adjusted your body into whatever calorie amount you want to intake. Now here comes the mental aspect, and this is almost harder than the physical aspect. You now know how not to mess it up, but now you gotta mess with your own brain, because when you go from a cut, you're feeling all nice and shredded, you're seeing new lines, you're seeing, your actual shape of your muscles are looking bigger, so you actually feel bigger. When you cut, you feel a lot bigger than when you're bulking, right? So when you start switching over to a bulk, in your mind, you're thinking, man, I don't want to lose my cuts, man, I don't want to lose my strength, man, I don't want to look smaller because I'm adding fat onto my muscles, which actually is going to disguise them and make them look less hard and dense, so it's gonna make them look smaller, right? So not only are you gonna feel like you're getting fatter, but you're also gonna feel like you're getting smaller in terms of muscle size, right? So it's a toying thing. It's something that's just like on your mind. And what happens is a lot of people will have trouble actually bulking. They'll say, oh, I'm gonna start bulking, but for months, 2-3 months, they aren't actually eating any excess calories, not having a surplus of any, and they're not gaining weight. So what could happen is the person could be still eating at a deficit, or maybe they just go work their way back up to a maintenance, but then nothing is happening. You're still working out every day, you're not gaining that strength, you're not gaining that size, and it's simply just because you're afraid. You don't want to lose the work that you put in to get, you know, your abs or whatever, like definition, or get your fat off or whatever, and that's understandable. You know, you don't want to see your double chin come back, you don't want to see your sides come back, or whatever it is, whatever your thing is that you were cutting for, you don't want to see it come back because you put in all that work for it, and that makes sense. But I think something that we forget often is that our bodies are machines, and if you go into the gym and you put in 100%, I mean like fiery rage, the depths of hell's trumpets are firing and there's just lava shooting out the sides of your head and stuff, and you're working out really hard. Did that make any sense to you guys? What I'm trying to say is if you worked out really, really hard every single day, it wouldn't necessarily matter whether you're eating in a surplus or a deficit, because the work that you're putting into your body is going to reflect just simply because you've put in the work. So what I'm saying is, like, if you're eating a deficit but you put in 100% work into the workout that day, you're going to lose fat. Mostly, you know what I'm saying? Your body is designed to recover from the workouts that you do. So if you're eating a bulk, if you're eating a surplus after you've worked out very, very hard, you're going to add muscle. It's going to go into good weight. And you have to remember this. You have to remember that I put in 100%, so I can cope with the fact that I'm eating more calories and I'm going to add a little bit of fat. Basically what I'm saying is just remember that this is all for a reason, and it's all progression. You're always moving forward, whether or not mentally or visually you feel like you look the best you've ever looked. Of course, you aren't gonna look the best you've ever looked all year round. You have to do those building phases and then those shredding up phases or those revealing phases. And I swear to you, you're gonna be so irritated if you're bulking for 5-6 months and nothing happens. You haven't moved any weight at all. Maybe you've moved like 2 pounds. That is so frustrating, because then you're going to compensate for that by overdoing it when you start bulking, like when you actually get to the mental spot where you're like, all right, now I'm gonna put weight on. You might overdo it and put fat on just because you're trying to do such a big bulk because you feel like you haven't been able to make progress. Point is, whenever you're cutting or bulking, mentally prepare yourself and understand that, okay, I need to eat more calories in my maintenance to gain weight. I'm gonna gain a little bit of fat. It's gonna be okay. I'm gonna gain strength and size, and eventually I'll be able to show that off, and I'll be able to go through a diet phase and reveal all that. So there you have it, guys. There's a topic that is very relevant for me. I've lifted for 9 years. I've gotten a lot of bulks and cuts, and I've done the transition from both to both, and I realize now, looking back on my first couple of ones, that I wasn't doing it completely right, physically and mentally. And so it's good to just kind of look back, even if you're really experienced, look back at what you did on your last cut or your last bulk, and, you know, figure out the things you did right, figure out the things you did wrong, figure out the things you want to adjust, and just really get a better grasp of yourself and how you do things. Hopefully this video could serve that purpose for you, maybe kind of trigger some thought about how you transition from cuts to bulks and how your mental status is when you're starting a bulk or starting a cut. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please leave a comment, let me know what you guys are thinking. I know some thoughts were triggering while you guys were listening, so I'd love to hear them. Give me a thumbs up if you haven't hit the thumbs up button already, and subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys coming in here and watching. Another episode is coming up tomorrow on Sunday, so make sure you tune in. Team Beyond the Week, CT.
Lift heavy or die, MIRIN, mother.